Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Crazy Al and I'm joined by the one and only Kristus, the lead developer on Doombringer. How's it going, mate?
Hello. It's going well. We've
Nice, good.
been working hard on getting the trailer ready for Realms Deep, and well, it got ready, which is good.
Nice one. We'll ask about that in a minute. So who are you?
I am. Well, that's a big question. Currently,
Yeah.
I'm a senior artist designer at 3D, not 3D Realms, but at Slipgate Ironworks, and I work on the game Wrath there as my day job, and my hobby is to make the game Doombringer and try to make that a thing.
Excellent.
And
What is
before that, I
Doombringer?
was a,
Sorry, go on.
before that
No.
was a school teacher. But Doombringer is my response to getting owned in Quake Live a lot. I like to play Quake Live back in the day, and a lot of the time I felt like it would be really nice to be able to play this kind of game in single player
Yeah.
and feel a little bit better about myself and not just get owned all the time.
I remember searching back in the day, searching for mods for Quake 3, like single player mods.
Yeah,
There wasn't a lot out there, let me
no,
tell you.
definitely not.
So I'm pretty glad that Doombringer's a thing as well, or is being made a thing. I think it's established its thing status
Yeah, I
already.
mean it's a fairly unique niche, to be honest.
So it's also inspired by other games than Quake Live,
Yeah,
right?
it kind of runs the entire id Software gamut, as far as as far back as Doom 1 at least.
Hmm.
So it takes the inspiration and mechanics from the games that the parts of the games that I really like. I try to get together as much as possible. So it has like sliding movement from Doom, super shotgun like in Doom, but also like in
Yep.
Quake 2, and ramp jumping like in Quake World, and crazy pushback like in Quake 1,
Yeah.
and crazy
So
damage.
so Doombringer, you got a single player campaign so far. We have one episode that consists of what, like, is it like 8 or 9 levels?
It's 8 levels plus 1 secret level.
Nice.
I
And
guess you could say
obviously,
7 levels plus 1 boss level and 1 secret level,
okay, yeah, true.
depending
And
how
you
you
also
look
have
at it.
multiplayer, which has, a whole bunch of maps and people to play with sometimes.
Yeah, and even some people who make maps for it,
That's true. I saw
which
that in the Discord today. There was a guy mapping a DM map.
yeah, Fossil has made a couple of one map so far, but there's also Dem6 who made a couple of nice maps, and
So,
hopefully there will be more.
yeah, absolutely. So, like I say, you got one episode, 9 maps. So,
Yeah.
what can we expect from episode 2?
So episode 1 was where I was intentionally keeping my foot on the brake as much as
Yeah.
possible to really get people to have a chance to get comfortable in the setting with movement and stuff. And I I really was struggling to not go too crazy with the platforms and stuff like that. And episode 2 is basically me saying, well, it's time to have some fun. So I tried to throw things together quite a lot. So it's no coincidence that the episode is called The Chaos World of Hlavh'yhl'ahk.
Sorry, is
I
that.
can't.
How do you say it?
Well, let's see here. Hlavh'yhl'ahk. From
Valialik.
ma- um, Matthew Tropiano, who's the sound guy, who would be able to pronounce it much better because he's the one who invented the language.
Is that your
But,
speech therapist?
he's doing a smashing job, let me tell you.
Yeah. We'll have the name of the episode written in the description somewhere of this video, so
Yeah,
you can see it.
I kind of need to have it in front of me to really remember the exact name, because it is actually a real language that he invented for the game.
That's really
And
cool.
all the monsters are speaking it when they see you, so they say the real things. But I have so far not been able to memorize any of it myself.
Yeah.
It's quite complicated. It's based on the old one's language from Lord of Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah.
It has some of that in it. A lot of apostrophes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, like, are we going to see new monsters? How are we going to expand on the lore and things like that?
The lore I'm gonna try to expand on. I'm planning to go back as well to the first episode and add some extra details here and there, but it's a tall order right now. So might have to ease down on that, because we're still working on the written language before we can really add stuff like that. To make it extra complicated for anyone to be able to decipher anything. But we're definitely trying to have some of the. There's like in episode 1, there's a lore room in the secret level. A lot of people even miss that because it's not in the path of where you're playing.
Like not only is it a secret level, it's also kind of a secret room all the way out in sort of the middle of nowhere on the map.
Yeah, and it's not like written out or anything. It's like, here's a bunch of wall paintings, and then you can try to figure shit out of there.
Cave paintings.
Yeah, so we're really not making it easy on people.
No.
But that's not the point either, really. It's more to give the idea of there being more to this world than meets the eye, right?
Oh, yeah. A bit of intrigue.
Yeah. And my hope is that eventually, assuming that people find it interesting enough, of course, is that you'll see some theories on what this nonsense is about.
Nice. I'm very much looking forward to that.
So that's what I'm hoping for. I'll be following that strategy of making sure that it's not in the main road. You're gonna have to look for it a little bit.
Excellent. So let's take a little bit of a turn away from Doombringer for a moment. You've been on a boat recently.
Yes.
You were living on a boat.
I was quite surprised over that myself.
So was I. I opened Twitter one day, and there's Kristus on a boat with a bright yellow kind of raincoat on. Exactly the kind of thing you would expect a Swedish person to look like on a boat.
I think there's a law somewhere about raincoats on boats in the ocean need to be yellow.
Yep. Visibility.
I mean, it does help if you fall in.
Mm-hmm.
You can see.
I can imagine.
But yeah, it was actually quite the funny thing. I work in an office on games all day, and then I go home and work on another game for the rest of the day, and then I sleep. And that can get a bit one-sided, you know. So when I was going on vacation, so I decided to go home to where I grew up and reconnect with my roots a little bit. And then I was talking to my cousin, and she was like, yeah, I've been asked to come along on this boat trip, which this boat in this case is a schooner, which is a 100-year-old freight ship. Basically, they used to freight all sorts of things, but I try to remember now. It was like iron or something from a lake in Sweden down to Gothenburg and stuff like that. They have been up in Iceland and stuff like that. So it's like a pretty solid ship, but an old one that is, when it rains, it got very wet. So every year there's this festival in Rostock where they have like all these sailing ships of this type there that will bring out people. So they pay to charter these ships, right? And then they go out and they sail around a bit. And on our ship, they got to try out the rigging, pulling the sails and stuff like that. So they were like active. And then we put them back on the shore and drink some beers.
You sail around and like get people on the boat and show them how to use the boat and stuff.
Yeah, sort of like that.
Right.
So it's like a big festival in the harbor, and people have already booked this in advance, right? So there's like a company have a party on the boat, and now when the company had the party on the boat, they were drunk. So we didn't want to like mess with the sails with them. But when people were not drunk, they could help with the sails, right?
Nice. So you're essentially working.
So
working
it was
holiday.
Working holiday, but working in a much more manual labor kind of thing. And it was fun to learn a lot about sailing, because I had never really sailed before in my life. It was and especially not on that kind of boat, right? So it was a lot of fun, and probably something I will do again, because it was really good way to spend your vacation. Because it was such a break from everything.
So how long like did you spend on the boat, like at any given time? I assume were you living on the boat for a time?
Yeah, so I was basically on the boat for an entire week.
Okay.
We left a few times to like go to a restaurant to eat dinner, or go to a tent to drink some beer. But generally we were on the boat all the time. And just getting everything ready for the customers and stuff. And getting the sails ready and stuff like that.
Go on.
Sorry. I had to learn a lot. I got to learn a lot about how to prepare the sails and stuff like that. Of course, there's like millions more things to learn. I just scratched the surface, but it was a lot of fun too.
So what like sort of aspects of living on a boat didn't you expect? Or did you expect?
Well, I did not expect it to be letting in so much water when it was raining. I don't think any one of us expected that.
You expect the boats to be somewhat waterproof?
Yes. I actually got away quite unscathed, but my cousin and the others, they were a bit more. She had like brought a proper like bedding, like a pillow and a duvet and stuff, and it had rain and had dripped like rusty water on her.
Oh no!
Shit. So at least I didn't have to deal with that. But they had made like, so this is like a what's it called, I keep forgetting what the word is in English, but it's like a organization that takes care of the ship and like do things with it to make sure it's like a cultural organization to keep this old ship going.
Yeah, like a heritage thing.
Yeah, sort of thing. And they had like I guess they had been struggling to get it ready because there were a lot of things that weren't ready for this trip really. But also they had like instead of on deck you would tar the deck
Yeah.
kind of thing to get water from, but they had like used tar paper, like stuff you have on ceilings.
Right.
Just
right. Yeah.
yeah, and it didn't really work very well because when it was raining, it was wet everywhere, and but that was interesting. Made us be very creative with protecting our beds.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine hanging up tarps and shit like that.
Yeah, it was especially interesting because the first, so we left in the middle of the night from Gothenburg, and when we were sailing throughout the night, so we took turns to sail.
Yeah.
And when I was waking up on this was a Monday morning, then this big storm called Hans was just getting into action, and we were in the middle of the ocean.
Nice. It's a good place to be.
Yeah. So we had like to use these security harnesses and stuff to make sure we wouldn't fall off the ship.
Yeah. Nice.
And then I got to sail the boat. I got to steer during the storm. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The other people who knew more about sailing were rigging the sails, and they were like, "Hey, can you steer?" And I was like, "Sure." I mean, I've done.
Pretend to be useful over here.
Yeah, I mean, I had experience with motorboats at least, right? So I had some experience, but and they felt like I was doing a really good job, so I got to steer, keep steering. But while they were like holding on for dear life, trying to pull ropes into the get the sails ready, so they could raise them at all, and it took like 2 hours to set sail. But once the sails were set, the ship just like whoosh, went in a straight arrow. Basically, it was awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, so if you can get on a boat, you should do it. It's a good weekend.
I don't think I will, but it sounds like a lot of fun, but I can't see myself getting on a boat anytime soon. Not like that anyway.
Yeah.
But just to sort of pivot back to Doombringer a minute. At the start, you mentioned something called Realms Deep. What can you tell me about what is Realms Deep for those who might not be aware?
So everyone, it feels like everyone who is even slightly interested in Quake or anything similar in terms of FPS game probably knows a bit about Realms Deep. But if you don't, then it's something that 3D Realms started doing a few years back. We were fortunate enough to be included in the first time when they did it, where we showed off Doombringer for the first time before we released first episode 1. Actually, it's 2 years ago now. No,
is it?
Is it 3? It might be 3.
That might be. That sounds right.
Yeah, I think it's 3 because there's been it must be 4. I don't know. It was a while ago.
We're old and tired, and we don't like maths.
But yeah, so they decided to. They want. It was when Corona was coming up, so it must have been 2020.
Yeah.
So rather than have people come to an event to see their games and stuff, they decided to do a digital event, and then they decided, let's have some of these indie games come and show their stuff as well to make a whole show of it, and it kind of just escalated from there.
That's pretty much how you got to where you are now, isn't it?
Yeah, to a large extent, I think so, because some of the people I learned to know in the ArenaFPS Quake community, was people that had ended up working with 3D Realms one way or another.
Yeah.
And they were in contact with me about Doombringer, and then they had Liz Realms Deep, and they got like, hey, come in, you want to show your game? And but I don't know when Frederick Schreiber, who's the CEO of 3D Realms and Slipkey Ironworks, really learned to know about me. For all I know, he may have known about me through osmosis, but yeah, it was definitely, if not earlier than it was then, that we got some attention, at least from other people than the normal Quake community. And after a couple of years, it's 2 years ago now, I was asked, based on my work on Doombringer, if I could help with animation for this game Wrath that 3D Realms was publishing, and by extension Slipgate Ironworks was helping to develop. And they had a pretty rocky development history that I don't really think I should be the one to tell, because I wasn't there for most of it.
Yeah.
I've only been there for the last 2 years. But once I decided to, I'll help out. But I didn't really have much time, because I was working as a school teacher at the time, full time, and I had Doombringer at the same time, right?
Yeah. Which is your other child?
Yeah, exactly. The redheaded stepchild that I love very much. After about 6 months of me doing contract work, not as actively as I probably would have liked, but pretty much what I could fit in, there was an opportunity to come visit the offices, and I asked if I was welcome to come as well. And when I was there, they asked me, well, actually a little bit before then, they realized I was looking for a new job, and they asked me if I wanted to start with them. And
nice.
The rest is history, basically. So about a little over a year ago, I moved to Denmark, and has been working on Wrath ever since.
Which is a very good game, if you haven't played it.
It is. It's there's a lot of nice things about it. That if you're a Quake fan or stuff like that, it's a good game. Yeah.
Sure.
And
sorry, go on.
We're getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been sort of loosely following the development since it was first released, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Yeah, me too. We're really looking forward to when we can release it, so people can see all the hard work we put into it.
Nice. So we got a couple of questions from the community as well. Cosmic Dawn Dev, are you familiar with Cosmic Dawn?
Yes.
Cosmic Dawn Dev on Twitter asks, what were some of the things during the development of Doombringer that were unexpectedly easy, or that you first thought were going to be easy, but then ultimately were difficult, quite challenging? Yeah.
Well, honestly, I was, when I started working on it with Dark Places, I was quite naive when it came to how netcode and that stuff worked, right?
Yeah.
So I always thought that okay, it has netcode, it's fine. It will just work.
Yeah.
Turns out that was not the case, as people liked to inform me as well a lot of the time. Then we had a magic opportunity where our boy Sam Piper Recchi joined the team, and spent way more time than he probably should have writing netcode.
That's the other redhead child.
Yeah, he's my stepson, also, I guess. But yeah, and I mean, Reki has been spiraling off making netcode for anything that has a first-person perspective.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
last few years now, and yeah, he's on a mission to make everything have netcode, which can be played over the Atlantic.
Godspeed to him.
Yeah.
So basically, so that was your answer then to a challenging situation. You just get someone else to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect answer. If you encounter something that you just can't overcome, get some help from someone else.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably the one that tripped me up most, because
yeah,
I kind of like just expected it to work. But I know also, you know, playing back, whenever I had been playing Quake, I always had been hosting my own server. So I never really experienced Quake except when I was playing Quake World.
yeah.
And I was always playing on low ping servers there. So I never really experienced Quake or Quake World's netcode in the rougher forms.
Yeah. It can be rough.
Yeah. And you've seen Quake World players play on like 200 ping and stuff like that. And, somehow being able to shoot.
Yeah. That in of itself is a Quake World skill.
Yep. I know Doom players in Z Demon and stuff like that can play on like 200 pings as well. And I don't think they have I'm pretty sure they don't have the greatest netcode either. At least not from my old experience with those games.
Well, they should call Reki then, I reckon.
Yeah. He's busy with Midnight Guns and 100 other things.
Midnight Guns. Dem6 had a few questions for you. What's your most hated level design trope?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know you've got some level design tropes that you're not a fan of. I think we've talked about them in the past.
Well, I think the most hated one I can think of is I don't want to throw shade or anything, but I really hate the painkiller level design.
Just all of it? All of it that I've experienced. I didn't get far into it because what about it isn't to your taste?
It was just like when I was playing, it was move into a room, the door behind you locks, the door in front of you locks, and then this room which is not particularly interesting in itself, has a bunch of monsters spawn in, and then you kill all the monsters, and then the doors open.
Isn't that Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal?
Yeah, but at least the rooms are more interesting there.
They are pretty rooms in those games, yeah.
There's a little bit more going on in the rooms at least, but yeah, it's a popular method, especially in more recent games, because of how loading works with streaming in data and stuff. So you don't have like people running around back and forth, and it's I remember what's it called, the Rise of the Triad remake that was made back in 2010. Had a lot of that as well.
Yep.
Because of limitations with the Unreal Engine, basically.
That game was a shit show on release.
It was crusty, let's just say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of the time, things that makes you not have to think about what your next move is in a level, right? A level that just goes on autopilot is probably my biggest gear to grind. If I know exactly what's gonna happen around the next corner by just how uninspired everything is, then it's probably not gonna be my cup of tea. But I know other people enjoy when it's just like run and kill the monsters, right?
Yeah.
So
there is a certain aspect of that is enjoyable. Like I think, like especially like the likes of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, is that those games lean quite heavily towards very aggressive playstyle with constant weapon switching and replenishing ammo with your chainsaw and stuff like that. So being locked in a room sort of makes that more fun because you can't just back out and escape and sort of kite monsters. You have to. You're sort of forced to be in their face.
And in Doom 2016's defense, I guess it's not all that all the time. There are more varied situations for sure. And I've done rooms like that myself. I mean, sometimes it's, you just want to lock the player in a room and throw shit at them.
Yeah. Their entire Doom level based on that concept.
Yeah. It's a good time sometimes. But when it's
it's every room,
yeah, then it becomes very tedious very quickly.
All right, so to flip that then, what's your favorite kind of tropes? What is a trope that you're like? I know that it's a trope, and I know that's something that people do all the time, but people do it all the time because it's good, kind of thing.
Well, a trope that I tend to do in my own levels that I have noticed over the years is that I build very tall structures. Tall and narrow.
Yep, that tracks.
Yeah, not always, but if I want to build something that it feels epic, you build on the high, and the more tall and the taller and skinnier you make it, the more unnatural you make it look, right? So you kind of create this otherworldly feel by automation almost. Mm-hmm. So that is a trope in my maps that you would probably notice if you played a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, if someone was to ask me what are some Kristus map tropes, I wouldn't be able to name any, but now that you've said that, like, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the screenshots that you sent us earlier literally show you that, and more than a few of them. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a thing I do.
Verticality, bitches.
Yeah. And that's actually why I chose the Quake engine as well over the Doom engine, for instance. I wanted the verticality to be more natural.
Yeah.
But
so what about from other people or other games? What sort of things do you like to see? Not sort of your own tropes.
Yeah. I like to see it when the map has a puzzle that is not something that breaks the game flow of the combat, if it's an action map, of course, but that is something that unravels naturally. I don't know if that is a trope, but it's something that people generally try to do when they make a map that isn't just a straight line from start to finish.
Right.
You try to communicate to the player what you want them to do without telling them outright, right? Using colors or shapes, etc.
I mean, I'm immediately thinking of E1M2 and Doombringer with the button that opens the door and some such. You've got like wires and stuff leading you down the stairs, and I mean that's a pretty simple example of it, but
stuff like that is a way to make things spread out, be able to spread out things without like. So if you have a button, for instance, and you press it and you don't see what it does, that can be kind of bullshit.
That's one of my most hated tropes, and it's like it's all over Doom, like the old Doom games, and even situations in Quake as well, where it's just like a door has opened somewhere. It might literally say that on the screen, and you're just like, fucking where?
that's a meme about Hexen.
Yeah.
You have solved 1/6 of the puzzle of the 7 portals. And like, thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, cheers. Little
So,
pat on the head as you walk by.
yeah, a lot of people got stuck on that first hub. They loved the first map, and then the first hub came, and they were like, oh, "Fuck." I go back and play Doom again. But yeah, that's probably, and there was a level designer in the Doom community that was, one of those where they were getting a lot of attention because they were looking for a lot of attention, but everything they made was pretty much the same level over and over again. They had their style, and they had their like ammo, and it was like change the colors a bit or something, right? And it looked nice and stuff, but it was just so uninteresting to me.
So to go back to episode 2 a little bit, are we going to get to play with some new weapons?
Oh yeah.
Which new weapon?
You did ask about monsters earlier, and I don't think I actually answered that. But
no, that's why I'm kind of steering back to that.
Yeah. I got lost somewhere, got distracted. But some people complain, not all people, but some people complained about there not being a rocket launcher in episode 1, for instance, which is fair enough. But you had the Eggy Boy launcher, which I think made up for it. But
I don't know. Some of those maps would be a lot easier to speedrun if we had a rocket launcher on them.
Yeah, especially E1M6.
I'm thinking, yeah, exactly. Like that's the worst grenade ever.
And I think it was made worse for them that the game had all those weapons in them already. You had railgun, you had a rocket launcher, etc. But it was only in multiplayer.
Yeah, you could already play with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I think if they weren't available that way, then there might not be so many people asking. Yeah. But yeah,
So episode 2 is going to have all of those weapons that you had in the multiplayer, except for the BFG, which is only in one mode in the multiplayer. Yeah.
We have a BFG?
Yeah, but only in the Arena Duel mode, which is inspired by the Doom 2 Vanilla Doom.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Duel.
It doesn't look.
It looks like a rocket launcher currently because I haven't figured out a design I like for it yet, so I haven't made the model for it.
Be saved for episode 3 then, I imagine.
Probably, but it might not actually be a BFG. We'll see. I really like the BFG as a weapon, though, so it might actually still be a BFG because, damn, that's such a good design in my opinion. It makes no sense, but it's fun gameplay wise. So you have apart from the weapons from episode 1, which was shotgun, pistol, Gatling gun, lightning gun, grenade launcher.
We had this super shotgun in episode 1, didn't we? Yeah.
No, not in episode 1. No.
Okay.
So episode 2, you will have the super shotgun, railgun, rocket launcher.
Fantastic.
And was there any more? I can't think.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know about the BFG a minute ago, so I could be forgetting other weapons.
There's a few of them.
Yeah, the crossbow. Remember the bolt gun? No, not the bolter, but the crossbow. I've been asking for years.
Yeah, I know. And when I'm trying to think of a way to make you pin monsters against the wall in the Dark Places engine, I kind of like my eyes glaze over, and I'm like, I can't.
Just make Reki do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a friend at work who's making a attack his own game in his free time, and he actually has a bolt gun that pins guys to the wall, but it's using the Unreal Engine, so it's a lot easier because it has the physics mode that allows it.
Fair enough. So with these new weapons, these newly acquired rocket launcher, super shotgun, and railgun, what new enemies will be not pinning to the wall, but exploding up against the wall?
Yes, there will be a lot of exploding enemies. Technically, in a way, you could say that 3 of them will have deaths that have an explosive element to them. But one of them will explode when you shoot them. Another one will have explosive bits come off if you gib them, and a third one will also have explosive bits come off when you shoot them. Then there's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's I think it's 7 new enemies.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot more than I thought. No, I've already
8. Might be 8.
Yeah, I played a little bit of the co-op demo.
Yeah, but it's 2 of. One is like a boosted version of another enemy from episode 1.
Oh yeah, I know.
So that one barely counts. It's then there's 2 that are like 2 more soldier enemies. With hit scan enemies, everyone's favorite. But I think they work because they only hit you if you stand still, basically. Or run straight for them.
2 new hit scan enemies? Oh, right. Okay, so LG and Railgun, then, I imagine.
Yeah. And then we have the big honking guy that was on the on a poster I put.
By the time this comes out, it will be in the trailer.
Oh yeah. He got a big chunking chain gun. So
I hate that thing. You've given me a new worst enemy, Kristus.
Yeah. He'll keep firing when he can't see you for a while as well. So if you keep just running out, he will just keep pelting at you.
That's always what gets me.
Yeah. He's a chunky bastard, but I really like fighting him because, but he, knock 2 grenades in him and then a shotgun and he goes down.
2 eggs in a shotgun.
Yeah. Bother. Then we have a couple of new flying enemies. One is similar to the Lost Soul because I really like the Lost Soul, even if it's not perfect. It's still getting a little bit of balancing on it to make it a little bit more fun. And it's a little bit more aggressive than the Lost Soul. Also explodes when you shoot it, so you need to keep away from it, unlike the Lost Soul. So you don't want, even if its attack isn't doing terribly much, you kind of want to make sure that you
don't want to be surrounded by them.
Yeah. And then we have a big fleshy guy who will eat other monsters that are dead and then vomit.
Oh yeah, I remember
chunks.
that. Yeah, that's a really cool concept. So I think it just eats like the dead bodies around them.
Yeah,
that's cool.
He'll search up a dead body, chow down on it, then eventually he'll vomit up chunks. That will be exploding.
If you gib the enemies, can they still eat the gibs or?
No, only if it's
so that's the strategy then. If you're up against these guys, make sure you gib all the other enemies so they don't have any.
We still need to make them a little bit more formidable as enemies, but they're doing their job at least, right? So if you for instance, if you gib them, they will explode with chunky gibs that will explode as well eventually. Nice. So you kind of
like a cluster grenade.
Yeah, but also they kind of like a meat wall, right? So they get between you and the other enemies, and and they will hunt you down and try to bite you and stuff like that. But you got your super shotgun by then, usually. Shoot them in the mouth. Hopefully that will get them to where everyone thinks they are fun. Currently, we're experimenting with them a little bit to get them just right.
Easily my favorite enemy, my favorite new enemy, because I have messed about with it a little bit. But I didn't realize the dead body thing though. Like that's pretty cool. I like that.
It's not immediately obvious. You'll notice it when you get like rocket launchers and stuff like that. And then we have a couple of late and the maps you played so far, they don't have these guys in them yet.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of maybe moving at least one of them earlier in the episode, but the first time you'll experience them otherwise is on E2M6, which is maybe a little bit late. But it's one is a flying enemy that shoots a cluster bomb kind of thing as well. It's not so much a cluster bomb. It's it shoots a missile. Then when it explodes into 4 new missiles that will shoot out in a square pattern.
Yeah.
And then we have the last new monster for the episode. Last new regular monster anyway. Which is a sort of priest kind of character, which will be able to shoot flames at you.
Which will inflict holy damage.
Yes, he will have a staff of mighty power that will be his... and that one was a lot of work to animate because I decided to give him a skirt for some reason. So
a lot of flapping around.
Yeah, a lot of flapping around. But it was a nice challenge. And if I did it again, it would probably be a lot better this time. But I'm not going to start over because if I did that every time, I think I could make something better, then we would never get a game.
Yeah. So in terms of the lore, at what point, where is the main character? Like what's...
So episode 1 is on home world basically.
Yeah.
I don't know if
it ends with a...
Yeah.
So it ends with a slipgate essentially, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then you're taken out of there.
And the episode is called The Chaos World of Hlavh'yhl'ahk.
Nice.
And the basic idea here is that you end up in sort of like a limbo world, or like a gate world, which so you will be shifting between 4 different worlds throughout the episode, jumping through slip gates throughout, or irradiate Pepto-Bismol gates, if we would quote our friend Joel.
Yeah, that is what it looks like.
So there's a lot of teleportation going on, and which was a clever trick to allow the episode to be a lot more varied in presentation than episode 1, which was all base stuff. And
yeah, true. I'm looking forward to seeing how the aesthetic expands.
Yeah, so I've been having a bunch of fun, just like throwing shit together and making what feels good at the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
vibing. I believe the kids call that vibing.
Oh yeah, we're down with the lingo.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam keeps me up to date. All right, well, this has been awesome. It's been good to talk to you, Kristus. I'm very much looking forward to episode 2. I'm mainly looking forward to actually playing as little of episode 2 as possible, in the sense of speedrunning it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually already looking for strategies on the co-op test build.
I hope I'm not making it too hard for the speedrunners.
From what I can see, episode 2 is going to be like there is a certain difficulty spike in the game when it comes to running. I think about level like 5, maybe 6. I think the difficulty just goes up, and I expect that to happen again, almost immediately in episode 2. So yeah, it's already pretty hard as well. Saying that, no, I guess, yeah, episode 6 is when it gets properly hard. I mean,
Map 6.
Map 6, yeah.
Yeah, that you can really tell in co-op there, because Reki just recently managed to beat the episode on Nightmare co-op, and he was stuck on E1M6 for a long time. But that's really where it starts ramping up. Before that, you can make do for the most part. But, I try to keep it reasonable, but it also like naturally becomes, if you want to like ramp things up, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's not a complaint. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to struggling.
Hopefully, it will be a fun struggle.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for joining. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm having fun with the gameplay, but yeah, it's a really, when other people play it, that you'll notice the thing. So I need to go in on the testing situation, really. Yeah. See how people face it. Anyway, sorry about cutting you off.
No, it's okay. I mean, that's what we're here to listen to you, so it's all good. But yeah, I think that's about all we have. So, GG's. Thank you so much for joining us, Kristus. It's been
thank you for having me.
Good to catch up.
It's always fun to talk to you, Al.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Adam's a good lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. You can get early access to content like this by supporting us on patreon.com/TimconLAN. Cheers.